A closer look at the new Hornby Duke of Gloucester locomotive. This is the locomotive which has just been supplied by Hornby in the very last days of 2013, and so is now available, and there'll be a second batch available early in this year 2014. First of all, the instructions. I've done some videos about fitting of DCC chips, and the problem I've had is the instructions haven't always been clear. Here I can say that the instructions supplied by Hornby are exemplary. It does say about precautions. It is a DCC ready locomotive. It shows you clearly where to oil the locomotive. I'm not going to show it in close up, you can see later. It talks about all sorts of separately applied detail, some of which you would only apply apparently if it was going to be a static display model. But most importantly, and close coupling for static display, but for normal running you wouldn't close couple a locomotive, you'd have it in the outer of the two holes in the drawbar to the tender. We'll look at those a little bit later. There's a single screw to remove, and it shows you which screw it is and how to take the body off the locomotive, and then where the socket is for the 8-pin DCC chip. This is not one with a trailing wire, though I think there may be space to get one in, and I don't know. But there's the socket, and it shows you the inside of the locomotive clearly. So clear details about how to fit the DCC chip, which I might be doing to this locomotive later, but not just now. When removing the locomotive from the box, there is a little foam packing piece over there which is easily taken out, but there's a packing piece at the front, and you have to lift the rear of the locomotive up and take it out. And if you're going to repack it away again, bear in mind that this packing piece here is actually glued on and fits between the two smoke deflectors to hold the locomotive in place and support it on the front of the smoke box door. There are usually holes in the back of the packaging to help you remove your locomotive. Rather than using a servicing cradle, I'm going to use the foam that came with the model from Hatton's. I'm going to have a look at the underneath. Now if we start at the back, the rear bogie on this locomotive is totally fixed, it's not movable, and the wheels on the rear bogie are flangeless wheels and have quite a lot of play in them. They move side to side a little bit, but they also move up and down, and so that presumably is so that this doesn't have any impact upon the locomotive following around the curves. And I think this locomotive is safe to go on second radius curves. Looking more closely, I'm going to pick it up now, at the driving wheels. The only pickups for this locomotive are from the 6 driving wheels here, and there's a little bit of side play on these wheels, maybe about in total 1.5 mm, 2 millimeters, so not a lot. Is there a bit more on that rear one? There looks to be, but if you can see the phosphor bronze pickups there and there, they remain in contact with the driving wheels at all times, and similarly on the front ones, so that you aren't going to get a problem of having to readjust the pickups. Very important, because on many locomotives you've got electrical connections from the front to the tender, so you've got tender pickups, so you've got may have 12 wheels picking up current. In this one you're only going to have 6, because there's also no pickup on the front bogie. Now the front bogie is quite loose and could probably benefit from a little bit of added weight. There's enough room in there to put some lead and paint it black to give a little bit more weight to the front bogie, which tends to keep them on the track when going over points, because it's got plenty of articulation and movement in there. And you can see from the side that there's good representation of the connecting rods and the valve gear and other things for this locomotive, including the speedometer cable. I think it is there. Delicate parts, and we'll see that in motion when it's running. So that's the first stage of this, just to say that I expect to be fitting some extra weight to the front bogie to keep that on the track over points. Only pick up from these 6 wheels here, but the phosphor bronze contacts seem to make good contact with them. And this rear truck or bogie is a solid arrangement, but the wheels are flangeless and so will not interfere with anything. So that's a more detailed look before we have it running on the track.